Right, on to the business of the day. It's always it's a lovely way to start sometimes for a finance meeting. Tisha, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Hello. Good morning.
If we can take the report as read. Do you want to make any comments? Sorry? You move it, Councillor Penrose, thank you.
I'll second it.
Seconded, Councillor Wood. Any questions or comments?
No.
This report is always very clear. You're always very clear, Letitia. This is fantastic. Thank you very much. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried.
Thank you very much.
That was easy.
Have a good morning.
Unprecedented.
Excellent.
Right. What have I got for this one? John. Yep. Welcome, John and Brett. Extending the Auckland Council guarantee of Eden Park Trust $40 million ASB bank facility. Do you want to take the report as read?
Yeah, if we take the report as read, just to outline a few comments. So Eden Park has a $40 million loan from ASB, which is guaranteed by Auckland Council, and it's also a separate $6.5 million loan from Council. The $40 million ASB facility matures in November 17, with the guarantee expiring one day after that. ASB are proposing to extend the facility to 30 September 2019 if Council extends the guarantee to the 1st of October 2019. You need to note that the extension must be sought 15 months prior to the facility's maturity. The proposed timing is designed to allow for the future of Eden Park to be considered as part of the next long-term plan process. So that's why we're choosing 30 September 19, which is 15 months after the adoption of the next long-term plan, which would be on or before 30 June 2018.
Thank you. I'll move the recommendation. Have I got a seconder? Thank you. No. Have I got a seconder for that?
Yes. Yeah.
John.
Thank you. John. Right. Councillor Watson.
Yeah. This is a pretty unsatisfactory situation and an ongoing one, and I don't disagree with the recommendations. I realise we haven't really got a choice here. Eden Park is New Zealand's premier stadium, and it's our de facto national stadium, really. Whenever there's any big events or finals, it's Eden Park's the go-to stadium. It's been an outstanding success in that capacity. Anyone that witnessed the recent World Cup could only be impressed by that. The Australian team said that Eden Park was the stadium with the best atmosphere of any. That was from the Australian side. It was absolutely electric. So I find it then a little concerning that year after year we find ourselves in this position where Eden Park is just treading water, and we're caught up in that treading water. There's the $40 million loan that they can't make any inroads. They can keep the interest payments going. There's the direct loan of over $6 billion to us, which just keeps getting put out. It's pretty clear the council, we don't have the capacity, the financial capacity to materially alter this ongoing treading of water. So I found it interesting there to look at the previous financial situation prior to the $256 million redevelopment in 2010, which was purely to enable us to host that Rugby World Cup. Eden Park was functioning quite satisfactorily prior to that as far as meeting all its other ongoing commitments in terms of test matches and all the rest of it before that particular event. Prior to that, the debt was half, 18.5 million, and there was still the $6.5 million loan to the Auckland City Council. So I guess what I'm suggesting, Madam Chair, is that given Eden Park's de facto status as a national stadium, then this situation is one that should be getting addressed by the government. There were plenty of people willing to bask in the reflected glory of the World Cup, but now when it comes to actually dealing post-World Cup, then we have this entirely unsatisfactory situation where council's been asked to really guarantee loans, offset or to overlook the loan that's already owing, and perhaps more than that, come up with a solution. We've seen one attempt at that with the stadium strategy, which, you know, fortunately, there's been fresh eyes put over that, where basically other codes or the ratepayer in various guises comes to rescuing this situation or ameliorating this situation. Now we have another version of that, Back to the Future, where the waterfront stadium's getting chucked up again. That decision's been made. I mean, good on Chris for getting it out there, but I thought that decision was made back in 2009, whenever it was, and then there's, the best part of $250 million poured into Eden Park. So I would just say, yes, I agree with the officer's recommendations. There doesn't seem to be any other alternative, but like a lot of other matters around this council, I think some pretty strong representations have to be made to Wellington for what is New Zealand's national stadium, and that Auckland Council is not the ones who are best suited to pick up the slack in this, as we're being asked to do year after year.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Do you want to make any comments, John?
Look, we're a classic asset-rich, cash-poor business. We do make operating profits. Our operating profit before depreciation last year was in the order of $440,000, and that was in a year with difficult trading conditions, in that we only had one All Black Test match, and the peculiarities of a Cricket World Cup don't actually generate significant returns to Eden Park. So the way you've characterised our financial position is more or less correct. We haven't made an operating loss at all. The previous year it was more than 600k, and this year it will be more than 800k. So we are moving forward in small steps. We're increasing the number of corporate boxes sold. Our memberships are increasing, and we're looking for other ways to increase our content. We have restrictions based on the regulatory environment we're in, and there isn't a silver bullet panacea. So
I would just say what a magnificent experience it is for Aucklanders that do go to, has always been, and is more so now than ever for anyone that goes to any event at Eden Park.
thank you. The operational performance of the park has been universally applauded, and we have to continue to provide the best experience we can for our customers, our fans, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue?
Madam Chair, if I may, I'd just like to respond to on two of the points Councillor Watson raised with respect to interaction with the government on this matter. Firstly, as you are aware, I would expect the government has the power to appoint 5 of the 9 Eden Park Trust Board trustees. They have offered 5 of those appointments to council, and that has been accepted by the governing body. We're working through the details of that transfer now. The next steps for that are for the Eden Park Trust Board to agree that transfer of the appointment to council, and then for an order in council to pass through government to confirm the changes. We are hopeful that will occur this year, particularly with respect to the order in council. We are working with Mr McCulley and his office, his advisors, and the Trust Board on the wider aspects of the future of Eden Park.
Thank you. Councillor Darby?
Thanks, Chair. This sort of echoes what I faced at North Shore City when we finally realised the liability that the North Harbour Stadium offered us or gave us, and it always rested with us, and this always rests with us ultimately. But a few questions, Chair. One is on the motions A and B. It would be helpful actually if we had the date from which it is extended to the date of 1 October in both cases. I think it's on the first, it's definitely 30th of November. Is it the same on B? Is it from 30th of November 17 until 1 October 18?
Yes, I believe the dates align.
So it would be helpful to have that there. And just a couple of questions on paragraph 12. We refer to where this facility originated with the ARC. Can I ask, is our direction now consistent with the agreement and the assurances that were given at that time? Is it entirely consistent with the assurances given at the point of that agreement being made, ARC with Eden Park Trust Board now representing us, that is ARC?
I
we
can't
represent.
recall specifically, but I can tell you that the government loan was converted to a grant on condition of achievement of the Rugby World Cup terms and conditions of the venue host agreement, venue use agreement, so to speak. So I imagine if there was a tag, it may have been the same.
I'm thinking more of the ARC side. The assurances given to the ARC when they signed that contract.
City Council.
A him.
That wasn't the ARC.
Well, look, I think it should be official. Sorry, with greatest respect, but
That wasn't the ARC.
These gentlemen weren't here. Can I just say, the ARC's involvement with Eden Park was this. After a long period of deliberation, deciding that Eden Park was more sensible, upgrading Eden Park was more sensible than a waterfront stadium, which would have ruined the port. And secondly, to back that decision up with a $10 million gift to Eden Park, period. That's all.
Thank you.
right. And just a couple of other questions then. Can you further explain paragraph 14? Now, we've already made another provision of 14 million. Is that also consistent with that original arrangement? Or that's in addition? Can you just give us a sense of, that's a very brief paragraph there, but we actually have made quite a serious provision in our latest 10-year budget. It's in the 10-year, isn't it, that was made? Can you just give us a sense of what that means?
I believe that that's a contingent liability recorded in the balance sheet of Auckland Council on the basis that there may be a risk of default. What is the risk? What is the asset backing, the value of the land and so forth? And so there's a $40 million loan plus a guarantee loan plus another $6.5 million loan assessed it against the perhaps realisable value of the underlying land. And if there's a difference, there's a contingency recorded. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's my understanding.
I get that, and it's not called upon, but it's sitting there
Yep.
if we need to call upon.
Just to be clear, that's not a new provision. It was in the accounts as at 30 June 2015.
Yeah.
At the same amount.
Understand that. And finally, there's, on paragraph 17, there's just a very brief bullet point there that the Trust, Eden Park Trust, will find it difficult to refinance the facility elsewhere. Have they made any endeavours to refinance? And are our team very clear that there's no conflicts there, given that, you know, ASB is also a sponsor of a stand and its logo is emblazoned on the place? Are we confident that Eden Park Trust Board have exhausted all opportunities to refinance at better rates, particularly in these market conditions?
We haven't sought any pricing from any other parties at this point in time. The renewal goes through the usual credit committee reviews, and so we're reliant at this stage on the ASB as our primary funder. If they were to decline the option to renew the loan, then we would be forced to look elsewhere. Their comments to us have essentially been that without the support of the council guarantee, this loan would be a far less palatable commercial option for them, and accordingly I think we'd find that everywhere we went.
Yeah, so if I could just add to that, I mean, I think the reality of the Eden Park finances is that Eden Park would find it difficult to source funding in their own name without the council guarantee. And we have a very good working relationship with Eden Park and ASB on this facility, and are happy with the negotiations which take place.
Thanks, Chair. Well,